Hi, my name's Neil. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be reviewing and giving my feedback and thoughts on the Bones X99 Formula Tony Hawk 60mm wheels. So if you saw my last video about wheels, you'll know that I've just bought these X99 Formula wheels as an experiment to see how similar they might feel to my Spitfire full conical 99 durometer Formula 4 wheels. Basically, I've been riding these Spitfires for a good few years now. Really happy with them, really happy with how they grip on all surfaces. They feel nice and fast. And I was just kind of wondering whether or not they were particularly comparable to the 99 durometer, so X Formula X99 durometer Bones wheels that have recently come out. Now, why was I even bothering when I was really happy with the Spitfires? Well, actually, I was looking to go up a size. So I usually skate these Spitfires in 58mm, and I was looking to go up a size to 60mm just to get a little bit of extra speed and possibly even a little bit of better lock in when I'm going really fast. So I saw these had come out, these Bones wheels. I've always been intrigued by Bones wheels because an awful lot of people do skate them. Now, if you saw that previous video that I did, I will leave a link below if you haven't seen it. But I was talking about how I do actually own some Bones SPF 84B 58mm wheels. So basically the same as these, but they were 58mm, but in the regular SPF 84B durometer. And that I had tried them before on concrete and I seemed to sort of slip a little bit with them. That kind of led me to believe that they were a bit too hard and weren't as grippy as the Spitfires. So we'll get onto that later, but really I thought I would get these X99s to kind of see if they bridge the gap and perhaps that they might be a Bones wheel that I could skate. So I was very intrigued. I decided to put these wheels on and try them out. And I decided to give them a decent amount of time as well, because it's very easy to put a set of wheels on, go for a roll around, and then say, no, I don't like those. And, that would be the end of it. And forevermore, I would have an opinion formed in my head that I don't like those. And that's sort of how it came about with the Bones SPF 84B wheels. I tried them out a lot earlier in my skating return. I've been skating again now for about 6 years. Took a 25-year break. And back 25 years ago, I used to always skate like 95A Pal Peralta wheels. And by today's standards, incredibly soft, but they were a lot bigger. So, the size kind of made a difference for the speed. Since getting back into skating again, I struggled to find a wheel that I liked, and I did begin skating with some of those old 95A wheels again, but they were too slow. And so I bought an awful lot of different sets of wheels to try, and I kind of settled on the Spitfires as being somewhere in between. And when I did try out those Bones wheels, for some reason I felt like I slipped, and that was on concrete as well. And I thought the SPF wheels are supposed to be good for concrete. So yes, initially with those wheels, I did do the whole put them on, try them, decide I don't like them all within the same session. On reflection, I should have given them a bit more of a fair go. Didn't want to do this with these wheels, and so I would be trying them over perhaps 3 weeks, I think. And when I put them on, my initial thoughts were that they were very grippy. The first park I skated them was a concrete park, and it wasn't brand new, fresh concrete. I think the park's been there for quite a while now and it's starting to weather a bit. Parks in the UK, for some reason, they never seal the surface cement. And so after maybe about, I don't know, 8 to 10 years, that surface cement wears away, whether it be through the councils jet washing the graffiti off them or just weathering in general. And they start to get down to the rougher stuff in the concrete, the kind of aggregate in the concrete, and that makes the surface just a little bit rougher. So yeah, unfortunately, skate parks in the UK, they never stay beautifully smooth if they're not sealed after completion. And I think it's a cost-cutting exercise for the councils to just not opt for that by the skate park builders. I think the builders would do it, but I think the councils opt not to. So yeah, the first place I tried it was slightly rougher and they worked very well. They went very fast, as fast as the Spitfires. They gripped very well. I thought, okay, these feel like they could actually be comparable. The second place I went to was a vert ramp that has skate light surface on it, and they skated very well there. They gripped very well, but in my experience, everything grips very well on skate light. It's one of the grippiest things I've ever ridden, but they were super quiet and it messes with my head them being so quiet. I just can't skate super quiet soft wheels. So although they gripped incredibly well and they skated just fine, how quiet they were, it's not working out for me in that sense. Next, I went to Bay 66, which is my local mini ramp and bowl skate park. And there again, they were very quiet. Soft wheels on wood is always going to be really quiet. It just doesn't feel quite right to me, them being super quiet. I need to sort of, I think I feel like I need to hear what's going on with the wheels. I need to hear them making a sound. It messes with my skating if they're too quiet. And being soft wheels, they're supposed to be really grippy, and they just weren't any more grippy than the Spitfires. I actually slipped with these wheels. I think the first trick I did, which was a rock and roll, I slipped down the wall turning out of the rock and roll, which is pretty unusual for me these days. I used to slip down the wall when I was learning rock and rolls, but these days I don't tend to. So that was a really weird sensation for me. And I think it was just the dust in the park sticking to the wheels and then the wheels slipping on the surface. But I don't get that same kind of thing happen with the Spitfires. So again, not quite comparable, and again, very quiet there. So lastly, I went to Crystal Palace Skate Park, which is my favorite concrete park. It's got very smooth concrete and I skate the pool there all the time. And immediately dropping in and skating around on them. Again, the wheels were way too quiet. They did grip very well on the concrete, which I would expect for a softer wheel. Concrete in general, I don't think you need much grip at all, to be honest, especially brand new smooth concrete. So they gripped really well, but super quiet. They almost gripped a bit too much in a weird way. There was no give in them. I don't do slides at all or reverts, but you know, these are supposed to slide when you want them to, but they were super grippy in that sense. So yeah, I skated them for a bit on that session, and after a little while, I pretty much had made up my mind that these were not performing as well as I'm used to with the Spitfire Formula 4s. Now, maybe that's the whole point, that they're supposed to be a bit softer and a bit more grippy on concrete. They certainly weren't more grippy on wood. They were grippy on skate light. So I'd say if you're buying these for skate light or concrete, then yes, they grip well, but I need a wheel for all surfaces. So yeah, they just didn't quite do it for me. And I'm quite disappointed because I thought these might be a nice all-round wheel. And I was thinking that maybe they might be a bit faster because they're a bit narrower. You can see kind of the difference. I would say the kind of contact patch on the Bones wheels is maybe two-thirds of what it is on the Spitfires. So there's a third more in contact with the Spitfires, which helps with the grip, but also, you know, just in a kind of theoretical way, slows you down a bit more because you got more in contact. So I was hoping they would be a bit faster in that sense. And the fact that they're 60mm versus 58, I thought they might be a bit faster in that sense. My kind of closing thoughts on them really is that they are very good for rougher concrete. They're good, a good park wheel for a slightly battered park that maybe harder wheels are just a bit too rattly. They probably will become my keep in my bag set of wheels in case I go to a more crusty park, but they won't be my all-rounders, which is what I was hoping they would be. But yeah, I'm not really feeling them, unfortunately, and I'm quite disappointed. I thought that they were going to be the ones. But just in closing, I do want to say that when I was at Crystal Palace and I decided that these weren't the ones, I actually switched over to my older Bones SPF 84B, and they were way better, way better. And I think on concrete, they might be feeling better than these Spitfires did. They are very fast, very grippy. I think my kind of realization here is that back when I tried them in the same place, that I wasn't skilled enough to be able to work with them to my advantage. I think I was too much of a beginner and I was looking for my wheels to compensate for my lack of experience. And now that I'm more experienced, the Bones SPF 84Bs, they're very hard. I think the equivalent is like 104A. So they're very hard, but they are very fast and they grip very well at speed. So I've actually kept those on that board for now. I'm pretty sure they're going to be really slippery on the wood. But on skate light and smooth concrete, I think they're going to be the fastest options. So what have I done? I've basically opened Pandora's box as far as wheel hardness goes. I thought I was going to try and find some set of wheels that were good for everything. But at the moment, I think the Bones SPF wheels are my fastest concrete wheels that I've come across. And these are going to just be backups. So this is something of a review. It's more of a reflection based on the last video I did and kind of just tying up the loose ends of like how good were they, how did I find them. But I'm going to show you a bit of footage of me skating around with them. I just hope somebody finds it kind of useful. So yeah, what do I say? It's kind of a middle ground. It's an all right wheel. It goes well. I think if you're worried about slipping on concrete, they definitely grip on concrete. Don't think I would buy them to be skating wood surface that might have some dust on it. I still think the Formula 4s work best for me for that. I'm kind of back to square one, which is weird, but that's part of the fun of the experimentation. And I like the fact that I can revisit some things that I'd written off as not being what I like and actually discover that now I do like them. Things change all the time, and to be so adamant about your likes and dislikes without revisiting, I think you may be missing out on some stuff. So I'm glad that I did revisit. So yeah, I have actually, as I said in that previous video, I've got some 60mm 84B SPFs. The ones that I put onto skate instead of those X99s, they were the 58mm ones simply because I had already opened them up. I wasn't going to open these up until I knew that I might like them because I could just sell them brand new as is and get my money back. I think actually these might end up going on the board when I've ridden the 58s a little bit. And in that last video, I did touch on bearings a little bit. And what I was riding on those wheels, I actually tried two sets just to check that it wasn't making too much difference. And that was the Bone Swiss regular bearings and then the Rockin' Ron's Rockets, which people rave about them. And I don't feel like they're any better than the Bone Swiss, to be honest. I think the Swiss are a bit better, just a bit better. But in a strange turn of events, I actually ended up buying some Bones Swiss ceramic bearings. So I'm going to try these out in the Bones wheels, and I might end up with like as fast as I'll ever get as far as wheels go. These are really expensive. I ended up getting a quite good deal on them. I wouldn't normally have bought them, but maybe I'm going to test them so you don't have to. One of those kind of reviews. And of course, in that last video, I mentioned the Spitfire Lance Mountains that are 99 DU, just like these, but they are 60mm. The prospect of these is good because they will probably skate how I want them. I should probably just be skating these first and foremost. And my only reservations were that I'm not a huge fan of black wheels. Maybe I'll find some other 60mm full conical Formula 4s at some point, but I got these just because I kind of like the look of them anyway. That's a whole other side thing. I've got more things to try, but yeah, as far as these wheels go, they're not for me, but they're not terrible. I think that's the culmination of thoughts that I have about them. I hope you find my thoughts useful, interesting. I think in the comments of that previous video, there's a lot of people telling me that they ride dragons. A couple of people saying the X99s. I am not going to try dragons. I've ridden somebody else's board that had dragons on them. They're way too soft for me. I don't need grip like they provide. They're made for all terrain. I don't skate crusty parks. They definitely aren't going to work for me on wooden ramps. I know they're grippy on wooden ramps, but the only reason I slip on a wooden ramp is if the ramp is super dusty, and I can grip perfectly well with the 99 Spitfires. The X99s were designed to be a slightly harder version of the Dragons, and even they are too soft for me. So the Dragons are just going to be a bust, I'm afraid. I think it kind of goes back to that thing where they will work really well for you if you are unsure about your grip and perhaps you don't have the experience to know how to control the grip or know how far you can push a wheel, because I know that that was me. I personal experience. I know that the Bones SPFs felt slippery to me the first time I tried them. I shelved them and I've gone back to them now and I think they're fantastic. So that's case in point, really. I know that's me and it's different for everybody, but I think Dragons are a great wheel for people that just are unsure and all they want is grip and some more speed than like a 95A will offer you. Yeah, not for me. So, thanks for the comments, but I'm not going to try Dragons. So, yeah, I think I've talked enough about these X99s now. I think I know enough about them to know that I won't be trying the X97s and I won't be trying the dragons. But I've now been sent on a bit of a side quest with the SPFs, which I don't think are going to work in the wood park, but I'm going to try them. I might be as pleasantly surprised as I was about them on concrete, but I suspect I will be back on the Spitfires in the wood parks and then maybe the SPFs for skate light and cement. Anyway, I think I've talked enough. I'm looking forward to trying out the Swiss ceramic bearings. I will do a video about them soon. Let me know what you think in the comments below about what I've said here. I'm sure there will be a lot of polarity in the opinions. Let me know if you think my opinions are at all useful. And I'll see you again soon. Thanks for watching. Bye.